Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented by Betway. And today, guys, we are getting close to the postseason. There are teams that are clinching their spot, their ticket into the postseason, and then there are teams that are this close to making it, and one team in particular, aka the Tigers, that are very, very close to making some history. And as well, looking at the other side of things, Baltimore Orioles, the fall off, is it happening? And why is it happening? We're going to discuss that because that is some pretty alarming things going on over there for the Orioles. But before we do, here's our co-host, Nick. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. There is 10 games left of regular season MLB baseball, folks. We are there.
Ooh.
We are in that final stretch. Pick your horse now. Hop on your bandwagon now. You know, the second that we enter into October, it's too late. At that point, the train will have already left the station, so you got to decide which team you are going to be riding with in October right now. For a long time, I was feeling like I was going to bandwagon the Baltimore Orioles. I don't know if I can do that anymore,
That train's
folks.
getting derailed.
It's
derailing. It's
exactly.
falling off the tracks.
Feels like every single season, and this is universal for all sports that have playoffs anyways, right? Any sport that has playoffs, there's going to be one or two squads where for majority of the season, they're looking like a juggernaut. They're looking like they could go all the way. They're looking like they could be hoisting the trophy at the end of it, popping champagne bottles. But then in the final couple weeks, in the final month, all the wheels start falling off, right? And you turn into this rickety old, like car. It's not going to get there. You know, we're running out of fuel. We're running out of gas. We got to take it to the fucking mechanic, but we can't because we got postseason coming up. That's the Baltimore Orioles right now.
The mechanic is way, way down the road. Miles, hours down the road. You got to get past postseason interstate in order to get to that mechanic, so you got to find a way to figure it out and get yourself there, guys. The Baltimore Orioles are absolutely collapsing. We broke them down on a recent podcast. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and they're still collapsing. In their last 10, they have only won 2 ball games, and things are getting panic and dire in Baltimore land. They just cut Craig Kimbrell, and a lot of Baltimore Orioles fans were saying this is long overdue because the struggles of Craig Kimbrell has been immense. He hasn't been the closer of this team since July. He hasn't picked up a save since July. They relegated him to just slowly moving down that totem pole to setup man, to then middle guy, to then cleanup duty. He was doing cleanup duty on September 17th against the San Francisco Giants, and literally he gave up in 2/3 innings 6 earned runs. I don't know what was the score at the time when he came in, but oh my goodness, did that ever blow.
Well,
that was just terrible, and then they cut him, and it's long overdue.
He's done. I can say assuredly right now, Craig Kimbrell, phenomenal career, potentially even a Hall of Fame ballot in there. Yeah. Just with the longevity that he had and doing so much great stuff. We are now long past the time where you were the top dominant guy walking into the ninth. He doesn't have it anymore, folks. The Baltimore Orioles were hoping that they could get just a little bit more juice out of him, and they didn't, man. And he has blown several games for them. It was, 6 blown saves that he's had over the course of the season. That's 6 games where right now that's the difference between you and the New York Yankees.
Yep.
They have a record of 89-63. You have a record of 84-68. Had Craig Kimbrell been perfect, you'd be leading the division right now, which you are currently not. They are 2-8 in their last 10 at the time of recording this video. Those are the Baltimore Orioles for you. There is no other team that's got a last 10 worse than that. Wow. Even the Chicago White Sox, the lowly Chicago White Sox, who could potentially be making history as being one of the worst teams ever, they are having what is for them a surge, going 4-6 in their last 10. So, they are even doing better than the Baltimore Orioles recently. This is not where you want to be walking into the postseason, and it's got people wondering, well, what happened? Why is this going on? Is it the hitters? Is it the pitching? Is it the management? Because the management came out recently.
General management? Ownership,
ownership, everything like that. They came out recently and they were talking about who deserves the blame. Mike Elias, he is the GM there over on the Baltimore Orioles. He's saying that they're keeping the faith, which obviously you should do. You're still going to be making the playoffs, which is I hope that you make the. If you don't make the playoffs, Holy Mother of God, then that would be cataclysmic disaster.
10 games,
you
they're up by 4.
Make the playoffs.
They're gonna make playoffs.
So obviously they're going to be keeping the faith right there. But he's even taken a little bit of the blame right now, saying that he had to be a bit better. He got a little bit focused in or too hyper focused in on the pitching, whereas like now they're dealing with a bunch of injuries or poor performances from the offensive stuff. What do you think right now just about this Baltimore Orioles team as a whole? 2-8 in their last 10. They were a juggernaut. Now it feels like they're just kind of like falling into the playoffs. Is it the GM's fault? Is it the coaching? Who's to blame right now?
Well, I think there's a combination of a lot of things. I'll start with the ownership. I mean, at the trade deadline, they did somewhat good at the deadline, getting a couple pieces. They got Eflin over there. They made a trade where they sent away one of their outfielders. Actually, forgetting who it is. Austin Hayes, I want to say it was.
Let me see if I can find it for you.
Yeah, see if you can find it. They, I thought they did an okay job at the deadline. There wasn't too many big buying pieces. So as a general manager, I mean, you already constructed such a good ball team, and because there was such a youthful core. You thought the pitching was there. You went out and got Corbin Burnes. I thought they did a good job this season. They could have done more if they really went balls to the wall. So I don't think really it's the general manager's fault. The injuries have been piling up, though. On the offensive side of things, Ryan Mountcastle has been a very steady, solid player for the Baltimore Orioles. He's on the 10-day IL right now. Grayson Rodriguez, how he's been having a great year this year. He's on the 10-day IL. Jorge Mateo, Jordan Westberg, they're all on the IL. Bradish on a 60-day IL. Wells on the 60-day IL. Means on the 60-day IL. And obviously Felix Bautista to start the year, 60-day IL. So, I mean, as a GM, sure, you could probably blame yourself saying, well, I didn't account for all these injuries. I should have got more depth. But it's like, you already had such a great farm system. You're banking on those guys to put up, and you're especially banking on guys like Jackson Holliday to put up, which brings me to my next point. The offensive guys have kind of fallen off a little bit. Jackson Holliday has been not the guy that we're kind of promised to get this season. In the last 23 at-bats, 15 days, mind you, he only has a batting average of 130. OPS of 290.
Right.
And you're having a lot of your core guys just kind of fall off at the wrong time. Santander, his OPS is 585 in the last 15 days. O'Hearn, 338. Rutschman, 532.
Right.
It's everybody is not showing up at the right time. The injuries and the underperformances are coming at the wrong time. So for me, it's a collection of things. There's no figure pointing, but I do like how the GM is taking ownership when he doesn't necessarily need to.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody. You don't know bad ownership if you think this is bad ownership, right? Seriously, or at least bad GM play. One of the quotes, I have it right here. He's saying, "I think our focus this year and the testing of our depth and a lot of the depth that we've lost is not something that I anticipated in this degree in the second half on the position player side of things, right? Because they were seriously focused on shoring up that pitching, which I think, to be fair, a lot of people were saying about the Baltimore Orioles, that is the area of concern. Walking into the trade deadline, I think you made several comments. I also did, saying, hey, that lineup is completely locked in. You need to go out. You need to address the pitching, which he did. He brought in Gregory Soto, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Zach Eflin. Hey, remember the Trevor Rogers trade?
Oh,
that was a big one.
Right.
They were active at this trade deadline. They were doing things at this trade deadline, at least, really going out and getting those pitchers. So I don't really see this as a GM mishap.
Right.
I think it's a bit of unluckiness. It's a bit of a, maybe we're getting in our own way. We're getting in our own heads a little bit.
I do think it could be maybe the lights are getting bright. These are still young guys. A lot of this roster.
Yeah, of course they are, right? And you do look at the last 30 days, and this is not the team that, they were to start the year. They are ranked 28th in OPS. That's the Baltimore Orioles, who for a large part of the season, they were a top 3 offense in everything, right? Home runs, OPS, everything. They were a top 3 offense, and then all of a sudden in the last month, it's just become a little bit too much. Maybe we're getting fatigued. Maybe that's a thing right now, but they're down there with the Angels and the White Sox in terms of OPS in the last 30 days. That is obviously a big problem.
Yeah, dude, you brought up Trevor Rogers, and I was like, what's going on with Trevor Rogers? I haven't even heard about this guy. They sent him to the minor leagues.
Well, that's not great.
Yeah, he was 0-2 with a 7.11 ERA since joining Baltimore. Did they just give up on him immediately?
Because they traded a lot to go to get him.
And then they're just not playing him. So for me, yeah, like you made that acquisition and that didn't really amount to anything. So and then the injuries, of course, Grayson Rodriguez is a huge one. So,
Sure, that is a blow for sure.
But like while the pitching's been bad, it's really been that offense, like you mentioned, and you wanna easily, like me, I want to easily blame like, oh, like the pressure's getting to them, but it didn't get to them last year going into the postseason. This year, however, it's happening. So for me, yeah, they're heading right now into a postseason berth where they would right now be faced up against the Kansas City Royals, and right now I'm liking the Kansas City Royals, even though they are struggling as well.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, when you're 2-8 in your last 10, I just can't actively hop on that train. And folks, I mean, if you've been listening to this for a while, you know that I'm a massive fan of the Baltimore Orioles in the way that they've built their organization. I like a lot of these players, but they're just not playing their best ball right now. And Jackson Holliday, to your point, circling back to that, has not been the player that we were promised. This was the favorite to win Rookie of the Year coming into this season. I'll tell you right now, his 172 batting average, his 524 OPS, that's not winning you anything, folks. He I got something right here. Talking about his strikeout rate, it's 34.8%. That's terrible.
Yeah.
34.8%. That is terrible. Right now, Jackson Holliday looks just overmatched at the big leagues.
Yeah.
And again, you know what? I want to be very clear when I'm saying this. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Right? And when I was 20 years old, I was, still just going out I was getting drunk on Thursday night, okay? Let alone playing Major League Baseball games, right? This guy's 20 years old, and he's in the MLB. So I'm not, and I want to hear your take on this, I'm not overtly concerned about Jackson Holliday for the future of his career or anything like that, but obviously this is not the start that you want to see if you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, and I do think that it's clear that there is still more development that needs to be done here for Jackson Holliday.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I can't agree more with that statement there, Nick. I mean, yeah, clearly he's getting brought up into a position where everyone's expecting him to be immediately amazing. And especially when you're going into this playoffs and you're like, okay, well, now you're supposed to be immediately amazing. And it's a lot of pressure.
It's tough.
Even though he's batting ninth in the order most of the days, I mean, it's still a lot of pressure when you got all that expectation on you. And I was looking here, kind of pivoting right now to their rotation, because they're going to have to play 3 games in a wild card series. It could actually survive. Like right now you got Corbin Burns, Zach Eflin doing great things. That's your great 1-2 right there. Dean Kramer's got a 3.81 ERA in the last 30 days, so that would be your third option. But once it gets into those longer series, if they go on to the 5 or the 7-game series, then that's when they're going to have a lot of trouble. So,
yeah, of course, right?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, I mean, like the way that they're playing ball right now is not conducive to winning a World Series. Yeah. It just won't. The strength of this team was always the fact that they could outslug you, they could out-homer you.
Yeah.
I mean, for a large part of time, it was in you had Santander and Henderson like in the top 5 of home runs, and then both of them have slowed down immensely, right? And that was the way that they were winning ball games, even when they had shit pitching at the beginning of the year. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, the pitching's doing okay, and we can't hit to save our lives. So this team will only go so far as their offense will take them, and right now your offense is taking you nowhere. So we need to see a different outlook, a different mentality from those hitters.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a lot to ask for, too, all these guys to start being like themselves in the next week and a half.
That's what it takes to win a World Series, though.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a lot of change and a lot of adjustments that need to happen for multiple guys in a week and a half. And for whatever reason, they have not made that adjustment in the last month of baseball. If in fact 2 months of baseball, they've been playing like this. I don't know. I think their time's running out. I'm kind of off.
Well, I fully hear you, man. Like, again, if I had to bet my life on anything right now, it would not be on the Baltimore Orioles, even though, again, maybe they could do it. Like, they certainly have the pieces to do it, but right now the collapse is 100% real. Over there in New York, though, division rivals, they just clinched. We were debating for a long period of time who was going to win that division, who was going to do it. I think it's pretty clear right now. They got 5 games on the Baltimore Orioles, so unless they completely fall off the table and Baltimore just suddenly, comes back to the way that they were playing at the beginning of the season, New York is going to walk away the American League East Division winners. Yay. Love to see it.
Woo.
No, but seriously, I mean, the New York Yankees, right, like last year, disappointing season for them. They've obviously got to be pretty happy with the way that things turned out here. They've got to be over the moon about how that pairing of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto has panned out. And even though I am the furthest thing away from being a New York Yankees fan, I am going to be excited to watch Juan Soto and Aaron Judge kind of tear it up together in the postseason.
I think that's going to be a great combination in the postseason.
Sure.
You know, you got Juan Soto, you got Aaron Judge. And when I look around at the American League, we kind of talked about this a while. There isn't a lot of teams that are really lighting it up. So the Yankees are kind of emerging right now as like a sneaky, just like if they're hot at the right time, they can go and take it, right?
Well, sneaky. They got the best record in the American League, man.
Exactly. Well, exactly. But like sneaky because like they all have been struggling lately. And
right.
then them and the Guardians have been kind of recently picking it up a lot lately. So the Yankees, they can easily take it. And especially, again, I love pitching in the postseason. Their pitching's coming around, especially their starting staff. Luis Heel, he's got a 1.13 ERA last 15 days and 3 starts. He's starting to pick it up. Cortez has been phenomenal in the last 15 days. He's a sub-1 ERA. Rodon's been good. Cole's been struggling, but then again, like, it doesn't matter when you got Schmidt also at a 174 in the last 15 days. Like, their rotation's getting right at the right time.
Also, to speak about Garrett Cole, I know that it's actually just one start, and it was the literal one start against Boston where he threw at Devers. That start he let up, I think, 6 or 7.
Okay,
but other than that, he's been phenomenal. So that it is obviously just that one start that's bringing the numbers up.
Yeah, I mean they've got a ton of weapons, dude. Their bullpen has been lighting it up. Like, okay, so all these guys have at least 4 or 5 appearances in the last 15 days. Cousins, Hill, Canley, Hamilton. All 0 ERA, no earned runs.
Wow.
They are starting to really light it up. So for me, this is going to be a fun Yankees postseason. They should get the bye with the best record in the American League. And, Yankees, they're starting to get up on my radar of, like, maybe it's a World Series year for you.
Yeah, of course, right? I mean, like, I don't know exactly what the betting odds are. Shout out to Betway, everybody. But I would imagine that they are probably third. When it comes to just betting odds overall, you probably have the Phillies, you probably have the Dodgers, and then I would imagine that the Yankees are right there in that mix, to win the American League and then to make a World Series appearance and potentially win it. So shout out, credit to them. Also, major credit over there in the National League to the Milwaukee Brewers. Jackson Chourio getting himself drunk.
Actually,
on non-alcoholic
legal, non-alcoholic.
Non-alcoholic.
He's not even old enough to drink with the champagne popping, right?
Yeah, they had a whole. They brought out a whole thing because they clinched their division. By the way, everybody, that is what we're referring to. They had a stroller. This is hilarious. They had a stroller, so a baby stroller full of non-alcoholic beer. So just to highlight the fact that this kid is obviously so long, but credit to him. He has done an incredible job with those Milwaukee Brewers ever since coming up. He's got an OPS over 800 right now. That's Jackson Chourio, second overall ranked prospect in all of baseball prior to this season. So Milwaukee right now, they're never going to get the media hype. We talked about this a little while ago. It's kind of like they're always in that dark horse role, but first team to clinch, they annihilated their division this year.
It
wasn't close. It wasn't close. It's been this way for months now. And, I know obviously, like, we like the Dodgers and we like the Phillies and everything like that, as we should, but 88 wins from the Milwaukee Brewers is the exact same amount one off of the New York Yankees. So it's not like they're a whole lot of different from those guys right now. You never know what can happen over there.
No, you never really know. And my brain immediately goes, and I hate that I have to go this way because it feels like I'm always biased against these guys. But my brain goes, it's because they're in that division that, like, that's why they have so many wins. I'm actually right now pulling up what is their schedule or what is the record against the Dodgers this year, against the Phillies. I want to see how they stack up against those guys.
Sure.
Because, again, I want to prove my brain wrong. I don't want to just say it. Yeah, so they're 3-4 against the Dodgers this year. The Phillies, where are they here? The Phillies, they're 2-4 against those guys. Who would they be matched up? So they would play a wild card game. Right now it's looking like the New York Mets. And right now, they have a record of, they're 3-0, right, and they got a series against the Mets before it's all said and done. So that could be a little bit of a preview window there.
Yeah,
of a wild card
that'd be
series.
Interesting, right? If it actually you have the series and then it goes straight into the you're playing each. It's like it turns out to be like a 5-game, 6-game series.
That
right?
would be really cool.
Be kind
actually.
of interesting right there if that is what transpires over there with the Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Mets. Either way, I do agree with you. Like their division is not the best. However, winning baseball games at a consistent level, it's tough. I don't want to take too much away from them because you could argue the same thing about the New York Yankees, right? Other than the Baltimore Orioles, like there's a lot of crap in our division in the AL East these days, right? So I think similar arguments could be made. But shout out to Milwaukee, you guys earned this one. First team to clinch their division, and you did it in a dominating fashion. Let's transition and talk about, I know you brought them up at the beginning of this, the Detroit Tigers. The fact that we're talking about a 4th place team in their division right now, because that's where they're at. They are 4th place in the American League Central. The fact that they're even a topic of conversation is truly ridiculous. But all of a sudden, the Detroit Tigers, who sold at the trade deadline, they sold away Jack Flaherty. They are 25-10 in their last 35 games. They are the hottest team in baseball by a wide margin. They are rolling over other squads. They just swept the Kansas City Royals. I believe it was this past weekend or whatnot, who was in their division, who they're actively fighting with to get that final wild card spot. The Detroit Tigers right now are surging, and they and the Minnesota Twins are neck and neck for that final spot. Talk to me a little bit about the Detroit Tigers, what they're doing right, and whether or not you like their chances here.
Okay, yeah. So first things first. I mean, first they're half a game out, so like that's super exciting. This is going to be one going down to the wire. I want to throw one more stat before I get into how good the Tigers are. This is insane to me. They were at one point 55-63.
Yeah.
And I know, and you know, the Blue Jays are probably at one point were 55-63, and we thought, damn, we got no chance because they were 10 games back of the AL wildcard race with a 0.2 chance according to Fangraphs. I'm out. I'm out of the season. It's over. But they could be making history and doing like the almost near impossible to get back into this postseason. So how are they doing it? The offense is doing really, really good, everybody. And the pitching is doing really, really good. Okay, let's talk about those, and I'll get into the details. ERA in the last 15 days, 2.47. That's second in baseball. OPS in the last 15 days, 7.11. 8th in baseball. Very good. You look over at the guys on the offensive side of things that are doing it. Your fantasy guy, Riley Green, is cooking. Riley Green's looking like an actual stud.
Yeah,
he's really.
I want to take a moment here and just like credit that guy as well,
Yes.
Riley Green. Like I feel like we had a lot of hype about him, and then we forgot about him. But take this in, he's only 23. He's turning 24. He's turning 24 very, very soon. Like, and actually, it looks like a week or two. But 24 years old. He's putting together an incredible season right now. He's got a 5.2 WAR on the year. He's got a batting average of 262, an OPS of 842. Across the board, Riley Green is looking like a player that you can certainly build around, or at the very least you can slot in your lineup and go, we know that this guy is going to do it time and time again. He was an all-star this year. Riley Green has a very bright future, which is something that the Detroit Tigers desperately needed on that offensive side of the baseball.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like hell, even like this is promise for me. And I saw an article, not to get totally off topic. I saw an article where the Tigers are really interested in getting Alex Bregman now. Like they could be like someone who could really target that.
Right.
Yeah. Like if they go add one more bat, like this offense is looking very nice.
Yeah.
It's such a good offense. Parker Meadows, Austin Meadows' brother, he's doing really good. He, his OPS 878 for the last 15 days. Colt Keats looking like a solid dude for them. Everyone's just kind of across the board being very good. You know what's funny? I was checking. I was like, I wonder how Javier Baez is doing. Buddy's on the IL.
Yeah.
Buddy has been injured for some time now, and you wonder if this is a sign. You gotta cut Javier Baez, because I get it. You're paying him a lot of money. If you could find a way to rework that, cut his ass from this team. Because I mean, let's be frank. That guy was cancerous to that lineup, that team. Didn't do any effort for the amount of money that he was getting paid. Now he's on the IL, and look what's happening. This team is surging. Not going to blame it all on him. Obviously, there's a lot of other things going right, like their pitching and their hitting. But dang, dude, get that guy away from the ball team.
No, of course, man. I mean, like, that's an attitude thing too, right? Like, it's abundantly clear that Javier Baez does not want to be there, does not want to play baseball, doesn't want to put the effort in. He got his payday, and he is out. Well, okay, you can be out then, but this team right now with Riley Green and Tariq Skubal and Kerry Carpenter, well, you know what? We're going to the frickin' playoffs, baby. We're going to do the impossible. The fact that they were at a 0.2% chance, everybody.
Insane.
And now, again, no guarantee here. 10 games left, no guarantee they're going to make it, right? They could just fall off just as quickly. But now they are looking like a serious contender to walk into the playoffs as like one of the hottest teams in baseball, if not the actual hottest team in baseball. That is a 1 in 500 chance. Like, you know the meme from Dumb and Dumber where Jim Carrey goes, "So you're saying there's a chance?" Yeah, this is what that is. There literally was a chance. We were all counting them out. To sell someone like Jack Flaherty and then to still make playoffs if you do it. What
Insane.
a goddamn story, man. I mean, it does beg the question, well, what if you just kept Jack Flaherty? You'd probably be in the spot right now.
Right.
But either way, like, if you can sell and still make the playoffs, holy mother of God, you were doing something right. This right here is one of the most exciting stories I think I've seen in baseball in a long time.
Dude, that's the best thing. If you can make playoffs, like Jack Flaherty's on a 1-year deal anyways, he's going to be a free agent after
Fucking
this. So
re-sign him.
Just you could re-sign him. You can go get somebody else. Like, who cares? Like, you still make playoffs. That's the ultimate goal of why you would even keep him, but you're doing it. So it's actually the best offseason. It's the best trade deadline. It's the best season you could ever imagine. And I think they're going to do it. Even though they're half a game out, I'm looking at the Tiger schedule. You got the struggling Baltimore Orioles up next. This is the time.
This is your opportunity to pounce on those guys.
Absolutely. You know, you just pounced and swept the Kansas City Royals. You actually just faced the Orioles last weekend. You beat them 2 out of 3. Go beat them again, right? They are struggling. And maybe that's why the Orioles are also doing bad, because they have to go into town and face the Tigers. And then you've got Tampa Bay Rays. They're nothing. You're at home. And then guess who they got to finish off the year? The worst team in MLB history. 3 games, the Chicago White Sox.
That's 3-0 right there. I can chalk up 3 wins right there to the Detroit. That to me right there is looking like a 6-3 or 7-2 stretch with the way that they're playing baseball right now in the last 9. And that feels like enough to get the job done. I want it. Detroit fans, if you are even out there, I want it for you folks. This would be an incredible story for MLB. It'd just be incredible overall. Also, too, Tariq Skubal, that is somebody who deserves to pitch in the playoffs. He is going to win the Cy Young, everybody.
And what a way to get the Cy Young too, to actually bring your team to the postseason.
Yeah,
that's 100%.
Amazing. Dude, this blows me away, right? Now they're a positive record, but keep in mind, for a large part of the season, this was a below 500 team that was not winning ball games. He's 17-4. He's got a win-loss record of 17-4. That's Tariq Skubal on the Detroit goddamn Tigers, right? To be 17-4, you imagine that you gotta be 1, an incredibly competent pitcher, and 2, on somebody like the LA Dodgers. He's on the Detroit Tigers, making it happen time and time again. He leads the league in strikeouts. He's got 185 innings to his name. This is the Cy Young. He is incredible and deserves to play Game 1 in the Wild Card Series.
You know what? I think he will get this, but he should get some serious, he's not going to win MVP, but he should get some MVP votes. If I'm thinking about an MVP, Tariq Skubal's the most valuable player on that team.
Oh, other than 1,000%.
Because, of what you're saying, he's literally willing his team. If he wasn't doing what he's doing, they're not here.
Bro,
they're not here.
Think about the swing. Again, I know that win-loss record is not everything now, but if you take away 17 wins from the Detroit Tigers, we're not having this conversation
even if
right
you took
now.
away half of them and you just had some average dude in there, or
exactly.
not even average, it'd be still amazing. If you just took away half his wins, you'd still have
be
8 or 9 wins.
Exactly, that's the thing. Even if you still made an average guy who had 9 wins or whatever, you're still like, that's a really good pitcher. No, this guy is absolutely the MVP of the Detroit Tigers. I do agree with you. He's assuredly going to win Cy Young. Should be unanimous, honestly. And just to, give him an MVP 9, MVP 8 or something like that.
Give him a nod.
Because, you do deserve it. To do that on a team when they were out, and also too that this is something that we got to factor in. We watched the Toronto Blue Jays players go through this. We watched through a lot of other players go through this. There were serious trade talks about Tariq Skubal.
Yeah, there was.
That guy held his head together. He wasn't even fucking, you know what I mean? And it's so difficult, right, when you're hearing those conversations around you, and it's going, oh man, in a week I could be in Dodger blue, or I could be in the Yankees land, or I could be wherever. Didn't even phase him.
Obviously, it's a good thing they didn't trade him, but I thought they shouldn't even ever trade him. I'm like, that's your guy.
Yeah.
That's your guy, and you have him for multiple years after this, so keep him. Find a way to keep him.
Keep him for those years, and if he keeps doing this, which I imagine he will, because he's still really young. This is a lockdown forever, because you could be looking at a I don't want to say generational player or anything like that, but somebody who is consistently going to be in those conversations.
Top pitcher in the league,
Yes,
one of those
absolutely.
top guys in the league,
100%.
Now going over to the other part of their division, looking at the Minnesota Twins, the team that they need to beat in order to get into the playoffs. They have been scuffling in the last little bit. They're 4-6 in their last little bit. The Twins, we talked about them on a recent podcast. They haven't been looking too good, and they had a lot of injuries. They've got some guys back, but they've just kind of been underwhelming. I got a quote here from Griffin Jacks that openly acknowledged that the Twins pitching staff has been, quote, running on fumes right now. They're literally, if you want to talk about like an axle falling off, the car, it's wobbly and the tires popping, that is the Minnesota Twins right now. And manager Rocco Baldelli noted that the game that the Twins noted before the game, this is one that they just lost against the Guardians, the Twins simply had to go out there and prove it if they truly wanted to control their destiny and hold this playoff spot, which is absolutely can't even be any more true. They are scuffling into this last stretch, and they got the Tigers right behind their ass. And if they want to go out and win it, they got to go and show up. They got to forget about the past.
Well, I'll tell you right now, man, I am now 100%. I wasn't sure where I was going to go here, but now I'm definitely bought in on the Detroit Tigers. To simply circle back there and finish off that conversation, 30th in a strength of schedule, meaning the best. They have their strength of schedule is the best remaining in MLB.
And when you get the White Sox,
that's the thing. You get the White Sox, you get Tampa Bay, you get Baltimore, who's not playing very well right now either. Looking at Minnesota, I'm looking at their strength of schedule. They got a relatively easy one too, but a little bit tougher, I'd say, than Detroit. They'll have 3 games against Baltimore. They still have 1 more game remaining against the Cleveland Guardians, and that's obviously going to be a tough one. So 1 game there. 3 games against Baltimore, 3 games against Boston, who's not a tough team, but not a walkover team either, and then 3 games against the Miami Marlins, who are a walkover team. So it's going to be tight, but just looking at the momentum over there in Detroit, it feels like the story is not going to be one where you do all of this to come up half a game short. You've set yourselves up beautifully. You have the easiest schedule in baseball remaining. The Minnesota Twins left the door open. This is their bad. Seriously, this is their bad. The fact that you didn't, because you had all the time in the world to put them away, or to get yourself. Because don't you remember Kansas City was struggling at one point?
Right.
Multiple other teams were struggling. There was a moment where you could have absolutely shut the door on anybody coming after you, and skyrocketed up the standings. Maybe even made a play for the division. That was a conversation that we had at one point. And you didn't. You left the door wide open. You just kept fumbling the bag. And I think you fumbled your last bag because Detroit's taking this, man.
Yeah, the Twins are kind of playing mediocre, if not bottom team baseball. ERA's 25th in the last 15 days, 4.75. OPS 654. That's 21st, excuse me. But yeah, I'm looking at their team too. I mean, they got a couple guys doing decent, like Wallner's doing decent. Santana doesn't seem like he wants to age a single bit. But the cornerstone of their team right now, Royce Lewis, which I'm going to argue because of all the injuries to Correa and Byron Buxton, that's your guy. And Royce Lewis is struggling too lately.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know you got him on your fantasy. He's struggling, bro. He's got a 182 batting average, OPS of 461. He needs to be hitting homers. He's not hitting homers.
I know.
That's when he's dangerous, right? And it's just across the board, it's just underwhelming. So they got to go out and they play better baseball. That seems to be the word across Twins camp is like, we're not playing good baseball right now.
No, man.
Just simply. So they got to go. And again, their schedule's decent. Detroit's is way easier. So you got to do even better. And that's going to be tough, man.
Well, again, you still have the opportunity to shut the door.
You do.
If you win every single game from here on out, guess
Easy.
what? You're gonna make it.
Easy.
So the destiny is still within your hands. Like, you control it. But with the way that things are going right now, the momentum for you is simply shifting downwards, and Detroit is skyrocketing up. So I like them a lot more at this point. You guys let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about this postseason race? Let's transition over to something just ridiculous. And for this one, we are going to shout out Greta, one of the sponsors of this video, of this channel. Phenomenal place to take your buddies, to take your girlfriend, to take anyone, your parents. I don't care. Go watch some sports there. Play some games. They got over 50 arcade games located in downtown Toronto, King Street West, King and Portland. Exceptional food, great beverages. The vibes are immaculate over there. So go check out Greta. The vibes, not so immaculate at a recent Houston ball game. Jose Altuve.
You could argue that it was immaculate, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, depending on who is watching, right? Jose Altuve decides to take off his shoe, take off his socks. I thought I would have had to pay for this shit.
Yeah, literally.
But no, he's giving us feet pics for free, pointing at his big toe or his little toe or whatever. But effectively what happened here, everybody, is he fouls off a ball that hits him, hits his foot, just grazes it. Umpire doesn't see that. Umpire doesn't believe it. They call the ball as in play, and he is obviously out. He is arguing about it to the point where he pulls off his shoe and gives us a little glimpse of what he's got going down underneath there. Walk us through this situation.
I mean, yeah, it was a situation where you could probably get frustrated. Obviously, the Houston Astros, I mean, it feels like they're pretty locked in for a playoff spot at this point. They should be clinching any moment now. But still, you're trying to win ball games. You're trying to rise up the rankings. It was a 3-3 ball game in the top of the ninth, and Jose Altuve had a runner in scoring position to drive in the winning run, or the go-ahead runs, because they were away. They were in San Diego. And, yeah, for me, clearly, if I'm fouling a ball off my body, it's not like did it hit the line? Was it fair or foul? No, I felt it.
I know.
Foul.
Yeah.
I know it was foul, and he calls it fair. And then I get the frustration because it's one of those things where, yeah, I know 100% it's true, and this guy's not believing in me. And I think the emotions got better of Jose Altuve because it's like, really, where is the logic here? You think showing him your big toe with maybe it was red or something like that, who knows, is going to change his mind? He's oh, actually, yeah, you know what? That's now a fair ball or a foul ball. It's one of those things where I just think it's hilarious. But to transition a little bit, I think that this is something that should absolutely 100% be reviewable. I don't understand how balls hit before the bag are not reviewable. It's a clear yes or no answer. You can review it after the bag, but you can't review it before the bag, especially if it hits your body. You can see it. It's like when you get a hit by pitch, you can review that, but you can't review a foul ball. That a very big foul ball call, mind you, because this was for the game. You can't review that. I think it's absurd.
No, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? And yeah, I mean, even if this guy was on the Chicago White Sox and this happened, the games don't matter, but still, it's one of those situations where this guy's telling me, no, it didn't happen, and I'm like, I know it happened. Dude, I know it happened, right? So I can fully understand the clear frustration there. And yes, probably shouldn't have taken off your shoe or whatever, but honestly, gave us a fun moment to talk about. But of course, this is another one of those things where I just think that baseball is a little behind. Guys,
we have the technology.
And that's the crazy part, right? Is seconds later, people on Twitter are being like, nope, that hit him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Every single other person, and probably people in that stadium too, are looking on Twitter and going, nope, that hit him. The only people that don't know is that goddamn umpire. And again, it's very difficult for you, right? It's coming at you quick. Maybe you can't see it, whatever. So why do you just put your ego to one side and go check the fucking computer, dude?
That's the thing is I can understand from maybe the umpire side of things. It's very quick where the ball grazes his toe or whatever and then hits the ground. The sound could sound almost the same because it's coming down so fast.
Sure.
So it's okay, mistakes happen. We're human beings. We have robots now and cameras that can go check this out and fix it in 1 second.
We have the perfect angle, right? Because I'm thinking about it from his perspective. Well, maybe the bat's in the maybe Altuve's shoulder. I don't know.
There's a lot of factors.
That's the thing. You don't know your point of view. It's tough to see. So go check the thing. It's stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine if you take that situation out, and again, this is regular season baseball. You take that situation out. It's a 3-3 ball game. It's in the ninth, but this is Game 7 of the ALCS.
Yeah, exactly. That's ridiculous.
Well,
yeah.
this is the biggest moment here, and
literally.
he knows it hit him, and everyone knows it. Like, I don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. Fix it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they need to fix, man. I mean, we were talking earlier about robot umps. That feels like such an obvious one. I mean, the minor leagues, they have it where you can just challenge the call by tapping your head, and then it's figured out in 3 seconds.
Exactly.
So easy.
No, again, like baseball and like Rob Manfred, I don't want to.
Rob Manfred.
I do. I hate Rob Manfred. It's like the way
does.
that he has managed this, just everything about baseball, I think is horrendous. And you look around at all the different leagues and everything that they're introducing and doing. And again, I'm not even a big basketball fan, but like the whole in-play tournament,
that's fun.
make it exactly like
Yeah.
it's just fucking fun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
It's like, okay, well, you know what? If we don't, like, now there's 2 things. Well,
Yeah.
I don't need to win the league because we won the in-play tournament. And it's like this was still a successful season,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly,
there's it's just like stuff to enhance the game and make it more interesting. And Rob Manfred refuses to do that. This is such a simple fix.
I know.
Do it.
I know. It's about time, guys. Why don't we check out on our boy Shohei Ohtani, shall we? Shohei Ohtani, guys. He's got 48 homers and 49 stolen bags. And you actually we brought this up. We were watching the Blue Jays game. We were just talking about Shohei Ohtani. Of course. We're talking about Shohei Ohtani during a Blue Jays game. But, man, the pressure that they're putting on this dude to go get those last 2 home runs is just insane. Every media question is like, so what do you think about the 50-50 season? It's like, guys, shut the hell up.
No, I know. It's I actually am getting to the point where I kind of hate it, and I would imagine that you guys, like, if for those of you that are still listening right now, if you are, shout out to you, hit the like button, comment down below, Ohtani, so we know that you're still listening here. But I think that you're probably sick and tired of hearing about this. Like, every day I see some update on Twitter or on, some sports app that I own about how Shohei Ohtani is maybe getting closer and blah, 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 whatever. Let the guy play baseball. We all want to see it. Mm-hmm. Every single person, I think, that's a baseball fan wants to see the update, but this is not helpful right now. I look at it the same way that I think we look at no-hitters and how we should be looking at this. When somebody's throwing a no-hitter, you don't
talk about it.
You don't mid-baseball game be like, hey, so Adam, how are you feeling about your no-hitter?
Yeah, exactly.
That would never, ever happen. That would never happen. So why are we doing this to Shohei Ohtani right now? Even your teammates know to leave you alone when you're throwing a no-hitter. They don't say jack shit to you, just completely out of respect to let you lock in and to let you keep doing what you're doing. Ohtani, after every single game, before every single game, like literally any single time that he's in front of the media, it's, so tell us what you're thinking about 50-50. Like, let the guy go out and play baseball. And to his credit, he's doing everything he can just to say, you know what, guys, I'm just trying to play my game. I'm not trying to worry about it. But it's impossible, man. The guy's human, and everyone is just pounding this narrative home. I say, just let him do it.
Yeah, because, dude, he's got 4 homers in the last, how many games is this right here? 16 games? Like, it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, there's 10 games left. 16 games. Like, he's got 4 homers, 16 games. Okay, he's got 10 games left. He should be able to get it, but it's like, let's just let him keep doing his thing, man. Let him keep doing it because he's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's got to really, like, just focus on his game right now. Don't distract him. Don't distract him.
No, it's I think it's kind of rude by the media at some point. And honestly, like, Shohei Ohtani's such a nice guy. Like, he'd never do this. But like, for me, if I was Ohtani, like, there comes to a point where it's like, guys, like, enough. You know, like, do you want me to hit this? So stop bugging me about it. You know what I mean? Because like, I can just imagine it's got to be going on consistently. And ultimately, let's not forget that they're in a postseason race right now.
I know.
There are more important things for this guy to be worrying about than this. And yet this is now, like, the conversation.
And he's also trying to get back to pitching.
And
or
he's
whatever.
also trying to get back to
He
pitching.
threw another bullpen the other night. That's crazy, man.
It is
Are
crazy.
they being serious right now?
I think they're being serious,
That's
man. I
wild,
think that
bro.
it's a necessity thing, but it's also that this guy's just so damn good that we're gonna let him do everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Why not?
You want to talk about a guy willing your team to at the postseason, just like Tariq Skubal. It's this guy as well.
Right. Well, speaking of which, actually, there was an article that was posted by the USA Today that was just kind of talking about like 7 MLB superstars who could win their first World Series in 2024. Shohei Ohtani is one of those dudes. And like we've mentioned, he's got to get some World Series rings to really solidify that eliteness, because there's a lot of superstars in baseball that just do not win chips because they're on bad teams.
Yeah.
They don't make the runs. And it just so happens, like Shohei Ohtani's one of them. That'd be huge. One of our favorites, Bryce Harper. He's one of them. He's been on the Nationals when they had a good team. He's on the Phillies, who have a great team. It feels like it's time for him to also lock in one as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you go through this list and you know, Ohtani, Harper, Judge. In my opinion, like those 3 guys right there, I want to see in their Baseball Reference, when it's all said and done, at minimum, 1 World Series ring.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, because that's, I just think that you are players that deserve it. I felt the same way about Garrett Cole for the longest time about winning a Cy Young. I was like, you know, just with the body of work that you've put together, at some point or another, you got to have that. Just because, you know, it's. I know it's very difficult, but like I want to see that for you. They got Manny Machado up here too. It's like, you know, probably the same thing with him. He's been so good for so long. Frankie Lindor on the Mets, they got a real shot. Garrett Cole too. Speaking of Garrett Cole, he has never won a World Series, which I was actually kind of surprised about with all the time that he was in there on. He's like, I thought he was there in 2017, but I guess not.
No.
But apparently,
Really?
he's never won a World Series before. And then you got Jose Ramirez on the Guardians too. Like, there's a lot of good baseball players here. But I can say this almost assuredly, unless Detroit wants to go wild, one of these players should get their first ring this season.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, because the 3 favorites here are Dodgers, Phillies, and Yankees in my mind. So there you go. There's some
Feels
guys.
like one of those, one of Harper, one of Judge, one of Ohtani is going to walk away with one this year.
Yeah, and then you got Padres who are cooking, Mets who are cooking. Yeah, but the one thing, well, I guess you could say Tariq Skubal. He's not even on this list. Maybe he's a superstar. Well, but obviously different caliber.
Exactly. Yeah, see, Tariq Skubal, like, he's just entering superstardom. You know what I mean? It's like, these guys have been doing it for, like, decades.
Exactly,
you know, like, you look at some of these guys, like, Bryce Harper has been in this league, like, I think this is what
2012, so what's that,
like 12
13 years.
Yeah, it's like he's been around, you know what I mean? And he's still
yeah.
doing it. Like, he's been doing it for a long time and he's still going after it. So, yeah, like, he absolutely deserves one. Tariq Skubal, if you're still cooking in 5 years, I'll feel the exact same way about you.
I would love for Harper to get that, man. I was looking at Harper's baseball reference page, and I think it was kind of shocking to me how there's been years where he didn't get a single MVP vote, or at least not one in the top, whatever they have in our reference, like top 12 or top 15, whatever they put here. But he still cooks, like, every season. Like, 2019 and 2018, not a single MVP. Or maybe he did get an MVP vote. Again, I got to look at the thing here. Maybe you could find it, not sure. But he had, like, an OPS near 900 both those seasons. Not a single vote.
I know, man.
Oh, wow,
like,
interesting.
Like, you look at this, and, like, the guy just does it every single year. Like, there's never any question mark at all. Like, the only question mark with Bryce Harper is, like, well, is he fully healthy? But when he is, it's like, I'm going to do it time and time and time again. Like, he's just that caliber of a player. So you got 2 MVP rings. You got the Rookie of the Year to finish off, I think, what is already going to be a Hall of Fame resume. But to really solidify it as being, I would argue, one of the best players of, you know, the last, like, since 2000, the last couple, you know, our generation. I want to see that World Series ring right there as well.
Dude, that is wild. Yeah, I'm looking at 2018. Not a single vote. Are you kidding me? There's guys.
Wild.
Jed Lowry had more votes than Jed Lowry had an 801 OPS batting 267.
Dude, he had in 2018, he had over 100 runs, he had 100 RBIs, he had 34 home runs, he led the entire league in walks.
How is Jed Lowry on the Oakland Athletics in 2018 better than Bryce Harper? See, and that's where I don't know if that's like bias, like, because there's a lot of people that are like, you know, for a long time there in that, like, stretch around that 2018 time, like, people were like, this guy's overrated. This guy, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but, like, he's better than half of this list.
I know. No, I don't. Like, there was some weird hate towards Bryce Harper, honestly, for a while there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and now it feels like the media has come around. Like, this is the media just doing the media shit, right? But like now the media, I think, has come around on him, and everyone's like, we love Bryce Harper.
He's great.
Yeah, it's like this guy is actually fucking awesome and really cool, but he's always been like that.
Oh my God, fucking Matt Chapman had more votes than him, and he was way worse.
I don't know what
68 RBIs that year.
I don't know what
What's
to
going
tell you,
on?
man.
Bro, I saw that and I actually I had to double take. I had to bring that up because that's so much disrespect, man. This guy should have got so many more votes.
That's the thing, right? And I look at his game. He played 159 games.
Yeah,
so
he
played the whole year.
Ridiculous.
Played
bro.
the whole year, but I mean it's a weird one, dude. Like Bryce Harper's career is a weird one, but I think we got to sit back now and we can just appreciate it. It's like I think this guy has done everything, like literally home run derby champ, rookie of the year, 2-time MVP, 8-time All-Star. Like he's done everything.
Right.
The only thing that he needs to add to that resume is that one ring, and it's like you will have completed. You will have 100%. Exactly. It's like you on 100% at MLB.
Yep.
Now you can go off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And you know what? He and the Phillies are my favorites.
They got a pretty damn good chance, dude. I would say, again, if I had to bet my life on anybody, it is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies. But, folks, you let us know who you're going to be riding with this postseason. Do you think Detroit has it in them? What's going on in Baltimore? Who out of these superstars is going to walk away with a ring? We're going to be back on Monday with another Bad for Baseball episode, folks, leading up to the postseason. Should be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll even go live for a couple of the postseason games on this channel. We haven't discussed that yet, but possibility. Let us know in the comments down below if that's something that you have any interest in at all. Hit the like, smash the subscribe button. You guys are the best. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you next time.
Cheers.